Welcome. This briefing covers what Controlled Unclassified Information users, or CUI users, anybody who uses a CUI system, what you need to know to do for access control, as specified in NIST 800-171 requirements 3.1.1 through 3.1.22. Remember, protecting CUI is everybody's responsibility, and access control is a vital part of that protection. So access control, what is your role as a CUI user? If we had to boil it down to one main point, it's that access control means only authorized people, processes, and devices handle CUI. Each CUI user plays a direct role by following the required practices. The next slides outline exactly what actions you must take or be aware of with each of the 22 access controls in NIST 800-171 and CMMC Level 2. Requirement 3.1.1 is about limiting system access. As a user in the system, what do you need to do to limit system access? Well, essentially, only use those devices, accounts, and resources that are assigned to you. Never share accounts, credentials, or allow unauthorized access. Remember that access to CUI systems is restricted to authorized users, identified processes, and approved devices. Make sure to keep credentials private and always report suspicious access attempts. Requirement 3.1.2 is about limiting access by job role or function. What do we do here as a user? Make sure you only perform the tasks and transactions that your job requires. If you have additional access that you don't need, make sure you let your admin know. Systems are configured so that users only have access to information and functionality necessary for the work that you do. Don't try to bypass these limitations. 3.1.3 is about controlling and limiting the flow of CUI data. How do we do this? Only send, receive, and share CUI through authorized channels. Follow procedures for approved data transfers. Remember, CUI must only flow according to defined policies. For example, approved email or file transfer solutions. Never upload, download, or transfer CUI by way of unauthorized means. Requirement 3.1.4 is about separation of duties to reduce risk. Make sure that you're aware of your assigned duties and don't take on conflicting roles. Don't perform tasks reserved for someone else's job. What does this mean, really? Separating duties helps prevent fraud or errors. Don't attempt to override or combine job roles unless specifically assigned. Remember, all these controls work together. 3.1.5, least privilege. Make sure you use the least amount of access required to do your job. Only use privileged or administrator accounts when necessary, and log out when finished. Having additional privilege increases risk. Make sure you use admin or security functions only as needed. We're talking about the principle of least privilege here. 3.1.6 is about using non-privileged or non-administrative accounts when doing non-administrative work. Use your standard user account for daily work. Only switch to privileged accounts for specific admin tasks with approval. Avoid using admin rights for everyday activities. This reduces the risk if your account is compromised. Control 317 is about preventing unauthorized privileged users from using privileged accounts. Don't attempt to access admin or privileged functions that you're not assigned. Know that all administrative admins or actions are logged and monitored. Remember that privileged actions are tracked and should not be attempted by non-privileged or non-administrative users. Violations lead to security review. Control 318 is about limiting unsuccessful login attempts. Ensure that your password is strong and unique. Over 15 or even over 18 characters helps a lot. Avoid repeated login attempts and contact IT if you're locked out. Login failures may lock your account to protect from unauthorized access. Never try to brute force your login. 319 is about providing privacy and security notices consistent with CUI rules. What to do here? Always read and acknowledge those privacy security notices when logging in. Understand what is expected of you when handling CUI. Remember that these notices describe your legal and procedural obligations. They help reinforce responsibilities. Control 3110 is about session lock after inactivity. Always lock your screen or log out if away, even briefly. The system will auto-lock. Never try to disable those session locks. Auto session locks prevent others from seeing CUI if you leave your desk. This is critical for all CUI work areas. 3111 directs that your user session should be terminated automatically with certain conditions. What do you do here? Remember to log off when finished with CUI tasks. System may auto-terminate sessions, but don't attempt to override this function. Ending sessions limits the risk of unauthorized use. Automatic terminations will help enforce this. 3112 is about monitoring and controlling remote access. Only access CUI remotely if you're specifically authorized, and use approved methods such as your VPN and secure apps. Don't share remote access credentials ever. Remember that all remote access is closely tracked. Only use organization-approved tools and methods for CUI remote access. 3113, encrypt remote access. Only connect to CUI systems remotely by encrypted channels provided by IT, like your virtual private network. Never transfer or access CUI over unencrypted or open networks. Encryption is required to protect data in transit. Requirement 3114 is about managing those access points for remote access. Only access remotely through those designated network points, such as the corporate VPN and firewall. And of course, never bypass those official access routes. Remember that managed access points help control by monitoring, restricting, and securing data flows in and out. This is super important for CUI. Access Control 3115 is about authorizing remote privilege. This is for those admins like your MSP that might access remotely. Remember, never perform those admin CUI functions remotely unless explicitly authorized. Always verify approval before any remote sessions. Remote privileged or admin actions introduce extra risk and require explicit authorization and monitoring. Access Control 3115 authorize wireless access prior to allowing those connections. Only connect to wireless networks after approval from IT or security. Never set up your own wireless access points. Wireless introduces vulnerabilities. All wireless must be pre-approved and configured. Access Control 3117. Protect wireless access using authentication and encryption. Only use encrypted and authenticated wireless networks for CUI, like WPA2 or better. Never use public or open Wi-Fi for CUI work. Always verify that the wireless security settings are there before connecting for CUI purposes. Access Control 3118 is about controlling mobile device connections. Only use authorized mobile devices for CUI. Don't attach personal or unauthorized devices to those CUI systems. Remember that mobile devices must be tracked, approved, and monitored. Do not ever connect unknown devices to a CUI system. Access Control 3119 is about encrypting CUI on mobile devices. Make sure that you ensure that the CUI stored or processed on mobile devices is encrypted using authorized solutions. Immediately report lost or stolen devices. Remember that mobile device encryption is mandatory since data loss and theft risk is higher outside of secure facilities. 3120 is about controlling external system connections. Remember to only connect to or use external systems if they are verified and approved. Never transfer CUI to outside systems without explicit authorization. External systems pose a higher risk. Approvals and documentation are required for use. Access Control 3121 limit use of portable storage. Portable devices like USB drives and external hard drives, especially with CUI, have strict limitations on their use, and you certainly cannot use those on external systems. Limit or avoid using USB drives for transferring CUI, especially with non-company systems. All exceptions must be justified, documented, and authorized. Access Control 3122 limit public website posting. Never post CUI to public-facing systems or websites. Remember to follow your review and approval process for any public posting of content. Public website posting is a major risk for CUI leaks. Confirm that all content is cleared before external publication. And let a manager know if you see any sensitive information that was somehow posted on your public website. If you have any questions about these controls, about your responsibilities for these controls, or you need clarification, please ask now or contact me at one of the email addresses below. And if you'd like more detailed information on these requirements Ask me about my more detailed presentations for each control. Thank you.